Now, can you hear us now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I'll go back, and took the roll, so for the record, they can hear, I'll go back over the vote, that's okay. Vice Chair Sanchez,
Present virtual.
thank you, sir. Mr. James?
Present.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Bryant?
Present.
Thank you. Mrs. Springs? Dr. Coleman? Mr. Jones? Mr. Melton?
Present.
Thank you, sir. O'Neill?
Present.
Thank you, sir. And Mrs. Britt? So we do have enough members for quorum. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes, and then we'll come back to the yes. Did everyone get a copy of the minutes or opportunity to review them? Questions about the minutes? 28. There are none. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
August 28th.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Motion to approve the minutes made by Mr. Melton, seconded by Mrs. Bryant. All in favor to approve the minutes from August 28th? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? All right, thank you. Next up, we have guests. If you'd like to introduce yourself, come off of mute, speak to the board, you can do that at this time. Who's ever monitoring the chat, if you can just let us know if you have any questions or anything. All right, next up on the agenda, reports and updates. None. Moving on to the other business, PAB rules and procedures. We all either have a copy of it or have your computers next to you. Mr. Brian, do you have that? You do, okay. Mrs. Springs sent out something. She sent it to Ms. Rose, and she sent something out to us, so we can take a look at that. And I think that we can look at them, kind of maybe combine them or go with one or the other. But I think that an opportunity came for some other board members. I know they said they had some questions and some concerns. So we can discuss it, or we can review them now and review them, get an opportunity at the next week for to have their input.
Mr. Chair, could you talk a little louder, please?
How about now? Is that okay? Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions? Comments, thoughts? Yes?
Okay, so the document that we have before us, the rules of procedure, that we decided at the top of the section.
Yeah, well, that's what I guess part of what we were going to decide today, or to kind of review them and then see if we want to combine something from both of them or add anything. Mr. James, you had something to say?
That was my question. I was unclear. When about the last meeting, I thought we were coming up with this outline. And from the outline, we would create two documents, one being rules and then a separate document that would be procedures. So my understanding is we just have the outline of those high level areas, but not the actual content. They were samples of
Right.
content, but not the actual content for us.
For us to
Just,
vote on.
just an outline.
Okay, all right, so. So is it possible to get an outline? We can have that document as well? Maybe not this week, but at least for the next week. Would that be sufficient, Mr. Jim?
Yeah, that's my understanding. We were supposed to approve an outline and then from the outline, create the content that goes into.
Inside?
Yes.
Okay,
So I don't know if did Mrs. Springs work on this alone or did Dr. Coleman help her?
I see Vice Chair Sanchez with one second. No, go ahead. So I'm not entirely sure. I thought that they were supposed to work on it.
That's what I thought I remembered. But since neither are here, I just had a question about recusal and severability. I didn't know what the distinction was between the two.
Okay. I think that Mrs. Springs will join later, so hopefully she joins. That's correct. Vice Chair Sanchez?
Thank you. So just kind of reviewing the minutes because I've missed a couple meetings now. So I guess I get the understanding that we wanted to approve an outline. It seems like it might be beneficial for us to have, do we have like a group of people that are working on this? Because it might be beneficial for us to have 2 or 3 individuals that kind of put together a working document for us to then kind of be able to look at and edit and approve.
Yep, and that's exactly what we said last week. So both of the members that work on this unfortunately aren't here. So I wrote that down. I'll actually try to, Dr. Coleman is unavailable. Mrs. Springs, I think she had an appointment, so I'm gonna send her a text real quick. More Vice Chair. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. All right.
I do think it's important that if we do have comments or suggested changes or recommendations, that we take advantage of the time we have now. If anybody has any, I have more questions, but some of you may have recommendations.
Yeah, question, but the question.
Well, yeah, I just need to clarify.
Okay. If she responds, can you just let me know? Thank you so much. So let's move on to the next item. Try to circle back. Chief meeting. Fourth quarter chief meeting. So as of now, we've had 1, 2, 7, invited 7.
What's the proposed date?
October 23rd. Out of the 7, 1, 2, 4 have confirmed. We're waiting on responses from the others. So 4 that have confirmed, I see Pleasant, New Carrollton, Morningside, and Glenarden, and we're still waiting on Cheverly for response, and Landover Hills and Laurel. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I'm sorry.
Questions for.
Yeah, so, I know we had talked about before having some questions for the chief. So, Ms. Rose, would you like us to email them to you? Okay.
I had something different.
Okay, so we had some from the previous meeting, but And I think that based off of which, LEA we're going to meet with, I think that maybe the questions may change, so, you can have some standard ones, and then based off of the, LEAs that we meet with, maybe we'll come up with some different ones. Is that okay with everyone?
Do we know? Hello? Do we know, if the chief is coming in there? Do we know if all of them has been participating in sending their complaints to administrative charge committee? I mean, do we-
I don't have confirmation now, but we can get that for the next meeting, I'm sure.
There are new chiefs.
No, I'm just saying, I don't know if all that jurisdictions been actually
Sending their cases.
sending their cases to us. That's what I'm talking.
I'm going to, well, I'm going to say yes, because I do believe that the ACC has sent a letter, before stating that, if you didn't have, if you didn't send in your cases, now is the time. And if you didn't, it would be reported. So I'm assuming that yes. And so I'll ask the staff to send out those, chiefs that have confirmed, and so on, based off of some of the data that we've seen. If we have any questions that are specific to those, we can send them to the staff as well, and they'll compile those questions.
I'd like to make a kind of motion or recommendation that we all review cases from that jurisdiction so that we'll have some idea prior to using.
Yep, so, yes, thank you. So Mrs. Bryan suggested that we review some of the cases from those, LEAs, so that we have some questions. And also, what I'll ask is that some data for those particular, LEAs be sent over to us before the chiefs meet. Everyone okay with that? I think that's a good idea. Okay. Yes, sir.
I would just say, I don't have a problem with that. I would say, one, we still haven't seen quarterly reports, which we talked about that, and I would also focus on our purview, which is complaints versus cases. I would look at complaints versus cases to stay in our lane.
And so the quarterly report is supposed to have a synopsis of all the complaints
Yes.
and that's.
We can get that. We get that. So we need that. Okay. Thank you. All right, next up was, community and external outreach. Didn't have anything. Ms. Brian, did you have anything?
Not unless you count the time in Germany.
You don't count, like, we talked about that. Thank you. Training and education. Does anyone else have any announcements? Other than Mrs. Brian wants to adjourn.
I think there was a person that I spoke with at the, no, it was at the, Family Day.
Lights out.
Nights out.
On National Night Out.
And there was an organization, and I might have given some information to to somebody. But at any rate, what they do is, they have a organization that, provides a monthly, service to teenage boys between, I think, 8 and 14. And they give them life skills, like how to change a tire, how to change a fuse, those kind of things. And I think that I would like to recommend that we put that information out to the local police, so that they can have access to her and to that program. And the other thing they do is they take an annual trip to Europe or wherever every year, and it's completely paid for through donors. And there was a young man who was there. I didn't mention this last one, but there was a young man who was there, and he's like a teenager doing cool stuff and just chilling. You know what I mean? I'm saying we have opportunities to touch the community through organizations such as that.
You have all that information.
I have her information. And
Okay. Okay, and also, is there like a monthly meeting or?
they have monthly meetings,
Okay.
and they get experts from different areas to come and talk to these kids. And
So I think that's an opportunity.
Right.
To get some women to go out and just speak to them, talk to them, things of that nature.
that, but also give the word to the police, so the law enforcement.
So that they can go there.
Yeah, those so that they can not just go there, but when they get a kid that they can see in their neighborhood, I mean, it has to do with community policing. You see a kid, and rather than, so there was an anecdote that one of the guys told me, and he said that if you already know the kids in your neighborhood, then you're not gonna be so quick to arrest him, you're gonna talk to him. And I think that relates back to the idea that you are a part of the community. And I think that's just another way to down for us to impact the actual people who live there rather than in an adversarial.
And particularly right now, with young boys, you think that's great. So, yeah, I'd really like to be a part of that, to show and share the information with the law enforcement. Yeah, thank you. Since I told you. All right. You said
I
from
want to
8
say,
to 18?
no, 8 to 14.
Oh, 8 to 14.
I just want to say that it's been an encouragement to, I talked to him about it, I was so excited. Because it's like, you know, we always hear about the bad things, but there's some great kids and some great kids in our neighborhoods. And we always talk about the crime and stuff. And here's a program that's just a woman who's a teacher. She's a
Put it together.
principal. Yes. And she just brings money and does this. It's like the last year we went to 1 year. It's crazy.
We gonna show it too. That'd be great. That'd be great. Anyone else have anything?
Just for those that are able, just encouraging you to take your ride along if you can. I think I got a sheet from Tangi, just seeing if I could explore what municipalities we had to road with. And I didn't see many of us ride with anyone down that list, so it might have been a few, but I just wanted to encourage everybody to put it in the year, since that's one of our goals. Also, as it relates to the complaint data, I was just wondering if we had any, I just wanted to learn a little bit more about our system that captures that data, and whether we have any additional support to create maybe a dashboard that pulls the data we want at the click of a button. Since it's the same pool every quarter.
Right, so, yeah, okay.
Yeah, if somebody built it, they just push the button.
Yeah, so I was thinking about, when we do get that data, that we talk about the categories, data categories, that we can have that link on our page, our home page, and we'll take it to it, and then they can, break it down to, law enforcement agency, complaints, all of those things, you know, it's like a pivot table type of thing, so. Everything.
We all working on the system. We're working on the system now, legal files. So it should be up and running soon.
Okay.
I don't have a date right now, but if you need any data, we have inspirations.
Okay.
Okay, can you describe what legal
It's a system we wanna, essentially, we have to go back and input all of the data that we already have on spreadsheets. So that's what we think about. And then moving forward, that's when we'll input all of our information. So we should be able to, like, I know it said, at a click of a button, we should be able to just go in and have a report from like this date to this date. That's what.
And so the categories of data, I mean, how will you dissect it?
We're still building it now, but right now, it'll be like the law enforcement agency, what day the complaint came in, the complaints and name and things like that, all the information about the complaint.
And it'll have like the topic of the complaint or something.
Yes, well, we don't categorize the complaint, we don't. So I think once it gets to the ACC and, Jerry, you can correct me on
Yeah, so
that.
we will have that. I think that's something that we want. We also want, I thought that it was important, along with that data, to have the definitions of the
Yeah, the
decisions.
types of
Yeah.
categories, yeah.
Well, like for sustained, non-sustained,
Oh,
things
yeah.
like that. So we want the findings. I think that will be important as well.
Yeah, but that won't come until after. We're talking about, I think, what we want to see, what kind of offense are coming in.
So, okay, so I'm thinking, I thought Mr.
Is
Melvin
that what
was
you're
saying.
speaking?
I'm sorry, what was?
The quarterly
The
report.
distinction between complaint versus case.
Yeah.
So the decision will come from the case.
So the officer's disciplinary outcomes will come from the case. That's when it's already been disclosed at that point. That's a part of our purview, is to review disciplinary outcomes.
Yes.
But what's on the front end is complaints as they come in, how those come in, the types that they come in, because we did select some categories that will fall in to see where those would come in. So that's why I'm talking about complaints, and that's within the purview, and then disciplinary outcomes, which is the resultant of the case, but not the case itself.
Right, so for the categories that we want to see, you have when the complaint came in. We talked about this, I'm not sure where those notes are, but when it came in, when it came to us.
What type, we gave.
And what
several
type,
types.
what's the category?
Yes.
So what kind of complaint was it, like, conduct unbecoming,
Language,
yeah.
those like that. So, yeah, so I was speaking to what Mr. Melton said. So I was saying that when we do get that data posted, that those are some of the categories that citizens will be able, yes. So that's what I was saying, that they'd be able to drill down to exactly see those types of things.
We won't have any personal information.
No, just data.
So, I mean, what we need to ask the ACC to categorize it, once it's full, they'll already have.
Go ahead.
Basically, not every complaint results in a case.
Right.
Some stuff may be frivolous in nature and just dismissed and not necessarily reach the ACC. So there are some things that can be categorized on this end. That category may change based on the investigation once it ultimately gets to the ACC. So we'll find a way to, I guess, merge those numbers.
Okay.
But yeah, there is some categorization that we've done.
Okay.
And we'll work with you guys and any suggestions that you have to make sure that happens.
So basically, the system will have a Dropbox, and we'll just click in what we think it is, but once it gets to the ACC, that once they do the investigation, they make more that they found, we're just taking the complaint was written, that's it.
Yeah,
And I think that's what we want, just want the preliminary, here's the face of it, and this is what kind of conduct they're complaining about, that's all.
Yeah, yes, it'll have that.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. What was that system called again?
It's called legal files, it's the same one the ACC uses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boys. Spring. Oh, yes, sir.
Related to training, I know we were doing what was recommended as far as the one-day training on the disciplinary matrix. Are we overall doing that, or?
So I'm requesting that the program manager from the administrative charge committee. I did speak with the statewide trainer this week, and so he said if we wanted him to come down and make a presentation on, we could do that. So I think maybe after the chief's meeting, or maybe, well, I'll find out what his schedule is. He said he would come down and give a.
The state,
Yes, who does the training, yeah. Wait, so, yeah, yeah. Okay.
is that something?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I just put it in.
No, not the next one.
Process.
And so I just spoke to him Monday. And that was the gentleman that was here for our very first chief. So, Mom, have you done your ride along yet? Or
No, the schedule. Working on that.
Second. West. Okay, that's fine.
I responded. While you're waiting on your date, you're going out of town.
Okay. A new grandbaby.
Congratulations. At once, or this is total? Oh, you said 3, like, okay.
So this will be number 3. Yeah.
Okay. So I have done some ride along, but it was in the capacity of something else that I'm busy. But I will do another. I did, my last one was with the sheriff, one of the sheriffs. We did that. Yeah, I'd like to do a ride
I think
along.
maybe I'm a little intimidated by it.
Really? Want to party, go to party. Go to party.
I mean, I'm going to.
Yeah, that'd be interesting too. And I know that we had talked about it before, potentially, Citizens Police Academy, maybe have like a condensed version of that one day. That we can go, because they actually do shoot, don't shoot, different things like that. When I had attended it, they had brought in somebody from the Justice Department. At that time, Michael Brown case was really big. And so we spoke about that. I mean, just a lot of things that were going on at that time. They brought in people from the Justice Department to speak about. So I think that it would be beneficial for us to understand. But one of the questions that I've had at that time, that meeting, was I never understood why their officers always touch my vehicle when they pulling me over. So they explained that. I don't want to give it away here, but I want. Yeah. You knew that? You know,
You can give it away.
no, I want to. Don't be worried. Don't tell them. Don't tell them. Whoever back there, don't tell them. Yeah, but I think it'd be a good opportunity for us, you know. So I know that they have a class coming up. I spoke to the trainer, Sergeant Johnson, about that, but I'll follow up. Somebody's not about you.
No, I wasn't at that.
I did the class, but I don't know if I thought we had some interactions at one time before. You didn't mention it. Okay.
But
It's,
my difficulty is the 12-week program.
we're not, every Monday.
Yeah, that's really.
It's
tough.
starting up next week.
I know, I got the email.
Yeah, it is, and that's at the heart. Yeah. We can get a condensed, she said that she.
I would like to do that, maybe even a like 2 4-hour session.
Okay.
Or something.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I want to see you do shoot, don't you? Like, you go
I'd love
first.
to do that, you know, I am a Marine.
You go first. I shoot.
I know.
So you ready to shoot already? All right, cool. Yeah, so, I'll get that information and ask, Ms. Allen or Ms. Rose to go ahead and follow
Yeah,
up.
that'd be great.
Okay, thank you. Oh, Ms. Springs?
I'm here.
Wow, welcome, ma'am.
Yes,
You are a special guest. I think Mr. Melton had a question for you.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, so we thank you for sending out the outline. We were looking at it, but I just had a couple questions about the topic areas for the outline. 2 of them, one says recusal, one is, I think, severability.
Yes. So I'm sorry, Ms. Lund, to cut you off. If I could explain it really quickly, it might address your questions. And if not, then you can answer the questions. So what I did was I based it mostly on Howard County, and there may be sections like recusal that we decide not to put in there. But if you look at Howard County and Charles County, they have a section. So those were the two ones. If you look at those, the outlines that was attached, that was sent by Ebony, the outlines for Howard County and Charles County both have those sections. So it was just something I included. We don't have to include, but it will be similar to those sections in those outlines if we decide to go with them.
Okay.
But it doesn't have to be included. It really was a generic outline, and I didn't put anything substantive in the outline because I know we said we wanted to put what we wanted to put in there. So what I did was use the Howard County and Charles County as what I think we would put in there. Maybe we change a few things, add a few things, take out a few things, but those were the ones that I think are most applicable to us and are what we're looking for. I went through almost every county in Maryland when I looked at the bylaws and rules of procedure, and those were the two best cohesive, to the point rules of procedure that I saw. So when I say everyone, I literally went through everyone online and research. So we would not be stuck with those topics. If we decide to move them out, we can remove them. But as far as what they would include, it would be whatever is listed on those outlines under that section. And I was just trying to give you guys something to think about, or we can just exit out. But nothing is sketched in stone, and that's why I did it so broadly. Now, I'm sorry, Mr. London, that didn't answer your question. I am listening.
No, I didn't have any issue with the outline sections. I didn't look at Howard counties, so I didn't get a chance to review the context of those sections. But I'll take some time to go look and see what they included in those sections, so I have a better idea of what would go under it.
I also like to bring something up, and we have not discussed it before. But when we initially started, we had a lot of administrative things to get through, and therefore we were meeting twice a week. We still need to meet twice a week.
You suggest more frequent or less frequent? Well, I think that based off of whatever it is that we have to do, so maybe we can make that decision after the next meeting. We'll look at it and see.
When we get this done.
Correct. Yeah, it's always not.
Does anybody else have any comments about whether we should meet? I mean, I know we'll talk about next week, but whether we should meet, I mean, or just, some organizations don't even have order.
I'm sorry, Ms. Bryant, I'm having a hard time hearing you. Could it just be me?
No, it's probably me. I wasn't talking directly to Mike. What I suggested was that we consider meeting monthly rather than bi-monthly. And I said that some organizations meet quarterly, and that if we don't have a lot of administrative things to do, perhaps once a month would suffice for our review of the cases, the complaints. So the president, chair suggested that we talk about it next week.
So take precedent. So thank you, man.
I'm sure.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Did you hear Mrs. Springs?
Yes, thank you both.
No. See, we'll put that on. We'll talk about that at the after we finish our last on the next one. Anyone else? Staff, do you have any announcements? Anybody? Now I'm looking at the camera so I can see behind me. Can we do this? I can see.
I gave you earlier.
I'm sorry, man. You have to put one right here so I can see. Thank you.
I had another question about the Chiefs meeting, just so I can properly prepare and think more intentionally about the questions. I was able to make the previous Chiefs meeting, but the one that we had last, I wasn't able to make.
The very last one. Right.
And because we don't record those, I wasn't, sure how it went, but
I think I created a report, did I not? And I don't know where that is, but I volunteered to create a synopsis of the meeting after each one.
okay.
And it exists.
Okay.
So I can send that to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll take a look at that. But I didn't know if our approach was to ask the similar questions that we got captured from the first meeting, which I thought were good questions. But I did recognize that I felt like a lot of the narrative dialogue was centered around like social responses to policing and wasn't so much about our localized tactical, practical stuff that we have going on. I didn't know that the very last meeting was similar.
Well, I think that, well, first of all, I thought the last meeting was with the sheriff and chief.
Oh, yeah, that was,
Yeah, I mean, it was an opportunity, we, safe space, and they forced a lot of things. One of the questions that I thought that we had that was important to me, that we brought was why were, suspects placed in front of the car, they were beside the police officers. So questions like that were answered, so on. So I think that they answered all of the questions from the
First time.
right,
Yeah.
and then we expounded on some other things. So I think it almost went 2 hours, if I'm not mistaken.
it was a very robust
Yeah.
discussion,
Yeah, so
but I can send you whatever.
And the question I had about that, because it's quarterly meetings, we should be recording that, I think, because we have to use the information from that to do our annual report.
And that's why I volunteered to take notes.
No, but I'm saying, why don't we, I don't never knew what the reason why we don't record those meetings. I mean, because it's part of our mission statement.
I
To
think part of
basically
it
have,
was to create an air of freedom to speak.
well,
I don't know.
yeah, I thought that that's what we had decided, that we wanted to make sure that the law enforcement agencies, the chiefs felt like when they have their meetings and they invite us to it, that those are not recorded, and we try to maintain a safe space. So we wanted to give them the same thing, and we can do the same thing with anyone that we meet with. But I think that our legal counsel, Counsel Campbell's, also suggested or agreed that it was okay not to record that.
yeah, but I think now,
We wanted
just no, I think we should record it because I thought, maybe wrong, I thought I had saw the chiefs meeting in Montgomery County with their website. So what I'm saying is, it's not them feel safe, I'm saying part of our mission statement, for better word, is for us to have this meeting. And we should be able so that it'll be easy for staff, whoever, to take notes to bring it back to us, what they got out of it. Not just that you taking or somebody else taking notes, that you can go back and defer to that and see what stuff, what trends that we got out that we might miss by just talking to them, you know what I mean? It's just, I'm just talking about for us doing the report and reviewing it and putting that information in there instead of us, you know, just taking the guess and stuff.
I think just kind of, I think when we first initially thought about it was we knew that it would be a little bit more productive because there could be a little bit more caution and, you know, just being more cautious about what they answer, how they answer it and stuff without a public communication or public relations representative there. You know, you don't want to say something. I think the chiefs that come are well equipped to do that, but I think at the same time, it just puts them in a different position. So if you're talking about recording it for our own purposes privately,
No, I'm talking
versus
about as a
recording it and having it public,
No,
I think those are two different things. Maybe you're saying just record it for us. Then that would eliminate some of those concerns for them.
Once you start recording, it takes a whole different, I'm not suggesting you don't, but they're two different processes. So you all need to decide.
And personally, I would love to get the most out of those meetings. And they not be in a position where it's less dialogue.
And especially now, whatever you say can be hijacked and misconstrued. You know, they may have some reference to that. I mean, I agree it should be open available, but we just need to think about it. Just think about the possibilities and the repercussions.
Well, like I said, I'll do more research.
And anything you record would then be subject also know to subpoenas and other things. So just whatever you decide, so we
Understand.
know how to function, whichever way you choose.
They are aware, this commission, this board was created to be accountability to the police. They understand that. You know what I mean? They know that. So any misgivings they have, they should be aware of that. But like I said, I will research, maybe call some other areas. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll ask them about the chiefs meeting, the quarterly meetings, if they record it. That's all I'm saying. But I mean, I just thought it was odd to do that.
I think, I'm gonna bow out, but I don't think there's a right or wrong answer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just more about what you want to get out of it. So, Mr. O'Neill, like, here's something else to consider. So like, we elect to do that, and then two people show up, because they don't, they just don't feel comfortable in that space. Not suggesting they have anything to hide, but just saying that if it puts them in a precarious position, and they're like, it's not worth it, or I don't want to have to bring a communications or PR person with me to filter what I'm saying, then it becomes a bigger thing.
Well, like I said, what I'll do, I'll research. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I didn't know.
Just say.
No. What I'm saying is, I will research, see if that's the same view of other boards in other counties. That's all I'm saying. That's
Okay.
what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
So for the record, we'll move on after this. I think that we've made that decision, like you said, Mr. Melvin, you said, Mrs. Bryan, that if we get the most out of it, not that we're trying to conceal or hide anything, it's transparency. But I think that some of the conversations that we captured in those meetings, we can take note of it and then add some of that information in our annual report as well.
And I think that's the whole, I'm sorry.
I would say that's where the essence of transparency is being missed, because when you even describe it as an opportunity to be open and candid, that's what is the expectation. So whether it's a meeting with the chiefs or a public forum, I think the transparency is the essence of this board. And so we're not asking anything that is operational or esoteric. So it's not that it has to be guarded. So I think we're asking public inquiry questions and expecting public answers. So I understand your point, Mr. O'Neill, that there should be a public record that also specifically acknowledges that this board has met to do that particular obligation.
So, Mr. James, can I ask a question? Are you also suggesting, or Mr. O'Neill, that the community meetings that may come to there would be recorded as well?
In that statement, I said that those community meetings would be recorded as well.
Okay. I'm trying to hear you, so I'm doing the best I can. I didn't hear what you said.
But especially community meetings, because those people who are not here, can benefit from the people who are and hear what was said. But for us to communicate with the police, I just think in my head, we may talk about issues that are sensitive or privileged. I don't know. We haven't.
And we're talking about having a conversation about complaints, and we're talking about putting that complaint data out publicly. So we're talking about publicly available information and having an open, transparent conversation.
I think there were some questions that we asked when it came specifically to like budgeting and things like that. Not saying that it's privileged, but I'm not sure if they would be as open to speak about those types of things in that form. So like we can make that decision, but again, I think that it was like you said, a robust discussion, very candid and transparent from the chiefs. Both chiefs were absolutely fantastic. So I mean, that's something that we can consider moving forward. But we'll bring it back up at another meeting, maybe before the next chiefs meeting. But I mean, I thought that it was great to just have it that way. Not that we're trying to be secretive or anything like that. Sometimes you can just get better, like behind closed doors, they can be a little bit more. Because anything that they say, we're going to report, right? So they get the more candid answers. And like Mrs. Bryan said, that some of these things now can be cut and scripted and put in such a way that they said something they actually didn't say. So,
Yeah.
exactly. Unfortunately. All right, that was it for me. I have anything. Mrs. Springs, I know you joined late. Do you have anything else, ma'am?
No, Mr. Chair, I don't have anything else.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Nope, I'm good. Thank you.
You sure, sir?
I am. Thank you.
All right, cool.
Okay, I guess one thing I'd say that in the future, if we decide not to record, any write-ups that we do that we share with everyone.
Sorry, Ms. Bryant, I didn't hear the last part. You're fading out. To make any recordings, or
No,
not, if you decide not to record, to make any,
I had committed to taking notes of those meetings, and if we decide that they're not gonna be recorded, that those notes be made available to everybody on the board, so that if they didn't come, or if I missed something, they can edit. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
But we're gonna vote on that next time, or
What's that?
on whether we should record.
Well, I mean, I guess we could vote on it. Ms. O'Neill said he would do more research on that, so she'll come back with something, but I guess we discussed that before our next meeting anyway. We have next time. Okay. All right. Mr. Melton, seems like that's your part, the last piece right there, Bob.
Make a motion for adjourn.
No.
Okay, I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
seconded.
So, thank you. Motion to adjourn made by Mr. Melton, seconded by Mrs. Springs. All in favor to adjourn, say aye. Any opposed? None? All right. Meeting adjourned at 7:30 p.m. Thank you to the guests.